Look up at the night sky. Do you see chaos, or design, randomness, or purpose? For millennia, humans have gazed at the stars and asked the ultimate question. Does all this point to something, or someone, greater? Today, we explore a question at the intersection of science and faith. Can astronomy prove the existence of God? Stick with us as we travel from the Big Bang to the edge of the universe. And perhaps, touch the fingerprints of a creator. Astronomy is the scientific study of celestial objects, stars, planets, galaxies, and the universe as a whole. Unlike astrology, which looks for meaning in star patterns, astronomy seeks understanding through evidence and observation. From Galileo to Hubble, from Newton to NASA, it's the science that has lifted our eyes toward the heavens. But astronomy isn't just about data, it also invites wonder. And wonder opens the door to questions that science alone can't fully answer. Where did all this come from? Why does the universe follow laws? Why is there something rather than nothing? These are not just scientific questions, they are philosophical, even theological. And that's where astronomy begins to brush up against the divine. Let's begin with something stunning, the fine-tuning of the universe. Scientists have identified dozens of physical constants, values that control the behavior of everything from gravity to nuclear reactions. And here's the catch. They're incredibly precise. A tiny tweak in just one of these values, and stars would not form, chemistry wouldn't work, life would be impossible. Let's look at a few examples. The cosmological constant. This controls the expansion of the universe. If it were off by even 1 part in 10 to the power of 120, the universe would either collapse back on itself or expand so fast that galaxies could never form. The strength of gravity. If gravity were slightly stronger, stars would burn too quickly and unevenly, slightly weaker, and they would never ignite. The universe needs this balance for planets, heat, and chemistry to work. The ratio of electrons to protons. This affects how atoms interact. Alter it by the tiniest margin and no chemistry, no complex molecules, no life. So, who or what fine-tuned the universe? Scientists offer 3 possible answers. Necessity. The universe had to be this way. But we have no evidence it must be. Chance. It just happened. Like throwing a dart and hitting a 1 millimeter target 10 billion light years away. Design. There is an intelligent cause behind the laws, what many would call God. Even atheists like physicist Fred Hoyle once said, a common-sense interpretation of the facts suggests that a super-intellect has monkeyed with physics. The universe had a beginning. This wasn't always obvious. For centuries, many scientists assumed the cosmos was eternal. But in the 20th century, everything changed. In 1927, a Catholic priest and astronomer, Georges Lemaitre, proposed what would become the Big Bang theory, the idea that the universe is expanding from an initial point of singularity. Later discoveries by Edwin Hubble and cosmic microwave background radiation confirmed this. So what does that mean? It means that all matter, time, and space began to exist. And here's where theology and science intersect. If the universe had a beginning, it had a cause. And that cause must be outside space and time. It must be eternal, immaterial, powerful, and personal. Why personal? Because only a mind can choose to create. An impersonal force cannot initiate creation. This is what philosophers call the cosmological argument. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist. Therefore, the universe has a cause. That cause is what we call God. Another clue. The intelligibility of the cosmos. Have you ever asked, why does the universe make sense? Why can we describe it with mathematics? Why does it follow laws? Albert Einstein once said, the most incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it is comprehensible. From gravity to quantum fields, from relativity to particle physics, the universe obeys patterns that our minds can grasp. This is not a given. A chaotic, random universe wouldn't be understandable. But our universe invites inquiry. Historian and physicist Stanley Jackie noted that modern science arose only in cultures with a theological belief in a rational creator, because that belief led people to expect order in nature. In other words, science was born from faith in reason, and that faith came from faith in a rational mind behind reality. Now, let's pause. Some may say, Science explains everything. We don't need God anymore. But this is a category error. Science explains the how. It studies patterns, mechanisms, and relationships. But it cannot explain the why, the purpose, the reason something exists. Science can describe gravity, but not why there's anything to have gravity in the first place. Here's an analogy. Imagine walking into a room and finding a poem on the table. You ask, what is it made of? Ink and paper. How did it get here? Printed by a machine. But who wrote it, and why? Science can answer the first two. But the third, that's a personal question. The same is true for the universe. Astronomy can analyze galaxies, but it cannot tell you why there are galaxies at all. That question transcends science, and that's where philosophy and theology step in. One modern challenge to the God hypothesis is the multiverse. Some suggest our universe is just one of many billions of universes with different laws. If enough exist, one like ours will arise by chance. Sounds plausible? Maybe. But there's no empirical evidence for other universes. The multiverse itself would still need a cause. It shifts the fine-tuning question up one level. Who set the rules for the multiverse? Even if multiverses exist, they don't eliminate the need for a first cause, a necessary being that exists by nature and grounds all reality. In short, the multiverse may explain the lottery ticket, but not the lottery. Some of the greatest minds in science have believed in God, or at least seen evidence of something beyond. Isaac Newton. This most beautiful system of the sun, planets, and comets could only proceed from the counsel and dominion of an intelligent and powerful being. Johannes Kepler. I am thinking God's thoughts after him. Georges Lemaitre. Not just a physicist, but a Catholic priest. He saw no conflict between faith and cosmology. Robert Jastrow. Agnostic. For the scientist who has lived by his faith in the power of reason. The story ends like a bad dream. He has scaled the mountains of ignorance, and at the summit, he is greeted by a band of theologians who have been sitting there for centuries. Even atheist physicist Paul Davies admitted, there is for me powerful evidence that there is something going on behind it all. It seems as though somebody has fine-tuned nature's numbers to make the universe. So, can astronomy prove the existence of God? Not in the strict mathematical sense. Science deals with physical data. God is not a physical object. But here's the key. Science, especially astronomy, can point beyond itself. It can reveal a universe that had a beginning. A cosmos that is finely tuned for life. Natural laws that reflect order and logic. Beauty, symmetry, and intelligibility. These signs invite the question, is this all by chance? Or by design? Astronomy, then, becomes a kind of natural theology, a way of reading the universe as a vast cathedral. Echoing the words of Psalm chapter 19. The heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of his hands. Every time we look up, every time we study the stars, we encounter the same paradox. The universe is unimaginably vast. And yet, it speaks to us. It speaks in photons and equations, in stardust and time, but it also whispers something deeper. You are not alone. You are part of something wondrous. This did not come from nothing, it came from someone. That's not proof in the lab coat sense. It's more like a voice calling from across the stars. If this video sparked a thought, a question, or a deeper curiosity, yellow circle like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's also looking at the stars. Bell, let us know in the comments. Do you think the cosmos points to a creator? Until next time, keep looking up, and keep asking the big questions.